Howdy, folks. I'm Kitty Cat Brian.
I'm Kitty Cat Amber.
And you can tell who picked out the filter today.
It matches our first story.
We actually have an update story for our first story here. There's a lot of great stories. But before we begin, we're planning on thinking about doing a live stream on Friday at 6 p.m. to kind of roll in the new year a little bit. So let us know what you think of that, if that would be anything that you folks would be interested in. That would be, of course, 6 o'clock
Eastern
p.m. on
time.
Eastern time. We're not going to go out to midnight or anything like that.
Yeah, probably just be like an hour or something.
Yeah, it would probably be like an hour-long live stream. So if you wanted to drop by during that time, you could, and you could hear us potentially read stories. Or hear me mess up on reading stories a bunch of times. So yeah, it's kind of that's what we're thinking about doing, just to kind of roll in the new year. So today is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, we were thinking, because there's a lot of great stories today. So let's get started. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk? Or Update. I get so used to that. Update. Am I a jerk for standing firm on my lack of hygiene and choosing a cat over a boyfriend? If you remember, this was the one where Crumb the cat was featured. So we're gonna also get a nice another picture of Crumb here. Amber's very excited about that. First, I want to thank everyone who took the time to respond, upvote, award, and DM me. I was inundated with responses and really got great feedback from all over the spectrum. It was decided that I was not the jerk, but there were tons of no jerks here. I took every comment to heart, even Toothbrushgate. Convo with Kyle. I wanted to talk because I wanted to hear his reasoning / give him a clean break. Honestly, it was a relatively normal, boring conversation. At first. He apologized for giving me an ultimatum and said that he was just frustrated and would never want to hurt Crumb. I apologized for laughing at him and making him feel as though his feelings weren't valid. He said that the pet thing was new to him and that he wants to work at bonding with him. I asked what he meant by the punish / crate, and he said punish meant by spraying him with water, and he didn't realize cats aren't crate animals. He tried to compromise and say that kissing a cat's head was gross, but if I brushed my teeth / washed my face after, he would kiss me, which honestly I think is a fair and reasonable point of view, if you're uncomfortable with that. The comment I received the most was Kyle and I aren't compatible. So I said that although I appreciate his apology and trying to compromise, I don't think the future would work for us. Kyle tried to backpedal a bit and say that he can learn to be more flexible, but I kind of got a weird feeling about it. I said it isn't fair to either of us to compromise on our comfort. I restated that Crumb is non-negotiable. He rolled his eyes and asked if I was choosing Crumb over him. He then asked if I was seriously breaking up with him over a stupid animal. This shocked me because it was 180 of the previous 15 minutes. He said that he felt rejected by Crumb and felt if he rejected him first, it would make them even? that's I don't even know what to say about that. I said that I was concerning because Crumb is a cat. He asked how I'd feel if he kept kissing animals that weren't me. I said I wouldn't care because they were animals and not a threat. He said that I was dense, and if I clearly didn't care about his boundary of kissing animals, who is to say that I wouldn't kiss everyone because people and animals are identical?
Like, I feel like this is on par with like saying you can't kiss babies.
Yeah.
Like pets are like kind of like the equivalent, and so like it's weird if you kiss babies. Like, how do I know you're not kissing everyone because you kiss babies on the head?
Yeah, this is especially hurt because I had previously told him about the stigma of being queer, bisexual woman, and how everyone assumes that we cheat / are promiscuous. I asked him if he was jealous of Crumb. He scoffed and said, "You're right. This could never work because you will be a crazy cat lady with no boundaries or hygiene." He said, "Enjoy being alone forever," and hung up. Going forward, I will make sure to explain my relationship with my cat to future partners. I honestly don't know if that is necessary. Most people are going to be pretty reasonable. I need to be with someone who loves animals and doesn't feel threatened by them. Like a lot of you said, I should be with someone that loves both me and Crumb. To answer one of the most asked questions, I sanitized the toothbrush. I will be getting a new head soon, thanks to my friend. I also got a cap for it. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. If you are interested in future updates, I can post them on my own page, Heart.
And now cat tax time.
But why would you want to see the cat?
Of course I want to see the cat.
Are you sure you
Yes,
want to see the cat?
yes. Let's
Are
see
you
Crumb.
are you
Let's
really?
see Crumb.
All right.
Aww. Oh, look at that little face. Isn't he the cutest?
Crumb is a very cute cat. A very, very cute cat. What can I say? So, kind of to address the letter, I hopefully you folks enjoyed that update here. I don't know that there's much to say on this other than like, yeah, it just didn't seem like they're compatible, but it was so weird that he seems so threatened by this cat.
Right. Well,
How can you be threatened by this?
exactly. Well, and if the cat doesn't like you initially, like sometimes some cats you have to work to earn their trust. Like
Yeah.
Ryan's mom has a cat, Calliope, who just like doesn't really care one way or the other about most people. And I had to work for years to, and by the time they moved, like I was Calliope's BFF, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So you just have to be very respectful of the cat's space and its feelings and make sure you're only giving the cat attention when the cat wants attention, all that kind
Exactly.
of stuff.
Exactly.
Like you can work through, like it doesn't sound like the cat was actively hostile, like just kind of
No,
like
no.
indifferent. And so,
Well, and like cats are indifferent, right? For the most part, like that's kind of their personality. That's a big personality trait of cats is like they're contrarians, right? So I think that this is just, I mean, maybe he hadn't spent enough time around cats and he just didn't really understand them. And I think that that's fair to say, but it's also fair to say that this relationship was kind of not going to work out.
yeah.
Especially with this whole are you really choosing a cat over me
It's
type of
like, of
thing? Are
course.
you are you really choosing a stupid animal over me?
Well, and that just is so wrong on so many levels. Like, she's had Crumb since he was a little baby and she rescued him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a strong relationship. And
Yeah.
so to insult the bonds that people have with animals is just not cool, not
Yeah.
a good look.
Yeah, I don't think it was good luck.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for asking my parents to reimburse me for the money I wasted getting a diagnosis I already had because they withheld my medical information from me? I recently spent $2,300 out of pocket getting assessed for autism and ADHD at the suggestion of my psychologist. I was diagnosed with both, which has allowed me to get financial assistance and accommodations at university, so it's very useful in the long term, but it was a huge blow financially. When I mentioned to my parents that I'd been diagnosed, they told me it was completely unnecessary because I was already diagnosed with both at the age of 6. They had never told me or anyone else about my diagnosis because they didn't want me to think I was different and didn't want me to be treated differently. Spoiler, I already knew I was different. I just didn't know why and thought I was a freak. Same with every school bully and even some teachers. They were even told to put me on ADHD meds, but they didn't. So I asked my parents to reimburse me for the money I wasted on getting assessed because it was their fault I wasted it. If they hadn't kept my own medical information from me, this would never have happened, and I would have been able to get accommodations from the very start of university, which would have made things so much easier for me. They watched me struggle socially and academically for 14 years and never bothered to explain why or get me help for it. My family is mad at me for asking to be reimbursed. They think it's rude, and my parents didn't do anything wrong. They were just trying to protect me. They even kept saying that my autism stops me from understanding why they did it, and that me asking for reimbursement is rude. I think it's reasonable that if someone's actions caused me to waste money, they should pay for it. They had 14 years to tell me if they didn't want me to know while I was a kid. They could have sat me down when I was 18 and told me, but they chose to withhold my medical information from me.
I mean, this is kind of a sad situation, you know. I feel bad for OP because like when you're growing up, things are hard enough as is, and not to understand like why things are hard, and to like if you're getting bullied because you're different and whatnot, and you don't have the resources to kind of help you with that, it's difficult. It can be really difficult. I mean, I think we were all, awkward teens at one point in time, and we know life is hard enough as it is.
Yeah, well, and as someone who did get diagnosed as an adult, like I can really relate to OP's feelings here. And like in my case, the diagnosis I ultimately got, social pragmatic communication disorder, didn't exist when I was a child. So people knew there was something up with me. I was put in speech and language therapy, but there wasn't really a diagnosis
Yeah.
necessarily that fit me. And so I really feel like what OP's parents did here is really problematic on a lot of levels
Yeah, yeah,
because schools are really structured around the idea that all students are neurotypical.
yeah,
And like trying to like I know they don't want OP to like feel like she's different, but she is different.
yeah.
And it's the issue is the society that treats neurodivergent children differently, not OP herself.
Yeah, and I think another issue here is that Opie was literally treated like an outcast growing up. So
Yeah.
this wasn't necessarily something that they were well adapted at. It wasn't something that they had developed coping mechanisms to, like, basically mask and be normal, so to speak, right? They had no resources, and they didn't have the right tools to actually succeed in these kinds of environments.
Yeah, well, and it's really not very different from like if you have a kid who, let's say, had a leg amputated, expecting them to run in gym class with no mobility aids, because you
Hmm.
don't want them to think they're different.
Yeah.
Like forcing disabled people to struggle so they don't feel different doesn't help. It doesn't change the fact that they're disabled. It just makes life harder.
Yeah, and that's just it. And that's why we have things like, fake legs that people can run on. It's so that they can actually, have a way to function, in a way that's more helpful to them. So it's the leg example I think is really good because you would have a mobility issue without a leg. And I mean, you could use a crutch or something like that, but it's really difficult still, right? And saying that, oh well, just because and a leg is something that's very visible, right? You can see a leg, but you can't necessarily see some of these other diagnoses. You can't see a neurotypical with the naked eye. Like, you talk to somebody and you can tell maybe that there's something different about someone, but that doesn't mean that you can just see it.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the problem with invisible disabilities, hidden disabilities, is you don't necessarily see them to the eye, but that doesn't mean they're any less bothersome.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times when people have invisible disabilities like autism or ADHD, people like to try and push them to be normal because like, well, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with you, so clearly, you can just if you just have to act normal, that's all, and that's
Yeah.
not a helpful mindset.
No, no.
And neurodiversity, there's nothing wrong with it. We really do need to change our school systems to, in general, better meet the needs of all students, including neurodivergent students.
Yeah. And I think there's some push towards that.
Yeah.
Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not wanting to participate in a risque photo shoot and being an unprofessional model? I'm an 18-year-old female with an agency. Me and a girl, a 20-year-old female, were assigned a job for a lingerie ad, which I was initially fine with. On set, I was informed that it was an LGBTQ themed photo shoot, which meant to celebrate queer community. I was told by the stylist and photographer to do lots of risque things with the other model. They wanted me to crawl across the floor towards her and lick her from the navel to the breasts. They also said that I had to make out with her, tongue involved. I was not comfortable with doing this with another girl since I'm straight, especially kissing grossed me out. I didn't want to do it, and the photographer was furious that I ruined the photo shoot. He raged at me and said that I'm queerphobic, I hate lesbians, and I'm an embarrassment to my agency. And I don't have the grit to succeed in the modeling agency. He said I will work at McDonald's even though I'm literally in college. Am I the jerk for being unprofessional model?
No.
I actually wanted to cover this one because I think it's really, really, really important to talk about if someone's trying to push you to do something that you're uncomfortable with, and don't do it.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, Well, I'm not very familiar with the modeling industry, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of predatory people
Yeah.
in modeling. And
Yes.
so if they're not upfront with you about what the photo shoot is supposed to be about, you're well within, like, it seems like they knew this was potentially going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't disclose it up front.
And this is something that should have been disclosed. If they were expecting OP to do this kind of stuff, then OP should have been like well in advance. Like that should have
Right.
been in the contract that you will do these certain things. And without it being like on the contract, I really, really think that OP dodged a bullet here because I'm pretty sure that we all know what the photographer had in mind here, and it's probably not a very good thing.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, I think that first of all, you're well within your right not to do things that you're
hmm
uncomfortable with. Even if Opie had signed up for this and then got there and realized, oh, hey, I'm not really comfortable with this,
yeah,
it's totally fine to back out.
yeah,
But I think especially like OP wasn't given any indication what the photo shoot was really about. They were just told it's a lingerie photo shoot,
yeah.
which has very different connotations.
Yeah, they didn't say that this was supposed to be a adult video type of thing, which is what this
Exactly.
sounds like where it was going. And again, I can't stress it enough that like if somebody is trying to pressure you and push you to do something you're not comfortable with, walk away, you know. Don't engage in that because like I could really just see something like this going very badly for poor OP. And I'm glad OP got out of that.
Exactly. Well, and even if modeling is your dream, like it's not worth putting yourself into
Mhm.
a situation that makes you feel really uncomfortable. There
Yeah,
are a lot of predatory people. You have to be very careful.
exactly.
um and so yeah, if someone it tells you, oh well, you'll never model again or whatever, first of all, they don't know that.
Yeah.
But think, even if they did, like, do you really like want to do something that's going to make you feel really bad? And I think OP sexuality here is irrelevant. Like,
Yeah, it
even if it
was.
was guys, like,
Why,
maybe
yeah, why would she be any more comfortable with a strange man, for instance, right?
yeah, maybe she would be, but maybe she
Yeah.
wouldn't be. I mean, I think the point is like, just it's not about being queer phobic. It's just something that she's not comfortable
Yeah,
doing. Like,
exactly.
I wouldn't be comfortable in this situation no matter the gender of the people involved. Like, I would be
Yeah.
like, no, no, thank you, get me out of here.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point. I really do. I think it is important to say that this is that she's not being queerphobic here. She's just setting boundaries which are very reasonable.
Exactly. And so I think because I did want to comment on, it sounds like the person was trying to use that to pressure her.
Yeah.
And like, don't let people bully you into doing something that's uncomfortable, because they're gonna like, it doesn't make you queer phobic to not to want to make out with someone
Yeah.
regardless of their gender.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, our next story is, am I the jerk for stopping sending money to my ex because I'm getting married? So I'm a 29-year-old female and I was born into a family who had a lot of money. I had the newest and most expensive things growing up, went to private school, had cars, expensive jewelry, and houses given to me as birthday and graduation gifts. I am grateful that my parents didn't raise me to think lower of people because of money and stuff. So, anyway, this incident involves me, my ex, who's a 28-year-old male, my current boyfriend, a 25-year-old male, my boyfriend's sister, a 30-year-old female, and my ex's boyfriend, a 25-year-old male. Me and my ex were together for a few years and I ended up getting pregnant. I had the baby but didn't really want it, and I broke up with him and let him have her full time. I sent over money to take care of them, but I didn't want to be involved.
I'm surprised they didn't use it here. Have it full time.
I have been dating my now boyfriend for almost 4 years and I am pregnant. This time I'm ready for a child. We have been looking at rings and been discussing him proposing, etc. I am close to my due date now and I decided, since I want my dream wedding, plus I want to get nice things for my child and for myself as a reward for going through these 9 months, that I would stop sending money to my ex for a while. I didn't want something. I don't didn't want to want something for my wedding or child or me and not be able to get it. I stopped the payment and was talking about it to my boyfriend. He said that it was my money, so I get to decide what to do with it, but said that I have so much he couldn't possibly see how I could spend so much I run out. Well, his sister was over and told me that it was not okay at all. She told my boyfriend that it was a huge red flag that I would stop supporting my child that I already have so I could have my dream wedding. I told her not to talk about my relationship. Well, she knows my ex through me, but turns out she actually knows his boyfriend personally. She is also gay, so I think that's how they know each other. I don't know really. And she decided to text him and warn him that I'm not going to be sending any more money without even asking me. I called her rude and selfish and told her to get out of my house. My boyfriend tried to calm things down, but I said he should have my side, and if he is going against me, he can also leave. He shut up and his sister left. I got a message from my ex's boyfriend saying that I should have told them that I am lucky that they didn't rely on that money to feed her and that they could support her on their income. He said that my reasoning is messed up and I should have at least given them a heads up. I told him that he is not my kid's dad and should stop acting like one. I said that it feels like all he cares about is the money. I was upset and insinuated that he is only with my ex for the money. I didn't really mean it, I was just emotional. I've blocked him and my boyfriend's sister. I'm now super upset and stressed and worried how this might affect my baby. Now, while I don't think I'm the jerk, but there are a few people who are mad at me. My boyfriend almost took his sister's side, and I'm just a hormonal mess right now, so I'm not 100% sure I'm being unbiased. So, am I the jerk?
So this is a really interesting experiment in psychology. I don't know. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but how she just in her entire letter distances herself from her actual child who is here and treats the child who she gave up as though she doesn't really kind of exist other than in this like pocket universe.
She acts like the child is like a new purse you would swap out for. Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't like this purse, so I just gave it to my ex,
yeah.
said he could keep it, type of thing. Like, she has no more regard for the child than she does.
Like, yeah, and there's no like nothing in here where she's like, oh, I never thought about supporting my child whether or not they would be hungry. It doesn't sound like she's even visited the
It
the
doesn't sound like
daughter.
she has anything beyond money to do with the kid.
Yeah,
Like, she pays a little bit of money. And so it just really shows, like, she's so concerned about her dream wedding, her new kid, and herself. Like,
yeah,
two of those three things are her.
yeah.
And
Well, and I think the new kid is also like
it's
about her.
it is probably in a lot of ways, you know. And I mean, I think that the sister, the boyfriend's sister, is right here. That this is a huge red flag. That she is willing to just cut off funding her child for a dream wedding.
Yeah, well, I think it is a red flag because like, and also like the whole situation is a red
Oh
flag in
yeah,
a lot of ways because it seems like the moment she gets tired of her current partner, it sounds like she would just be willing to like dump him to the curb and be like, oh yeah, you can have the kid and whatever, it doesn't really matter to me.
yeah. Well, that makes me wonder. Like, if she gets bored with this kid, is she just gonna like ditch the guy and kid and be like, oh, okay, I'll send you a little money?
Yeah, it definitely kind of has that vibe to me. Like she just views people as disposable.
So, like, dude who is dating OP, maybe rethink this relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I think that OP here is very much out of touch with reality. And I'm not trying to be harsh on OP and I'm not trying to be like overly mean to them, but I do think that they are out of touch with reality and they kind of view people as disposable. At least that's the vibe I get
It's
from
the
there.
entire tone of the
Yeah.
letter. Like, she is the center of the universe. She needs to have everything, and
Yeah.
everything else is superfluous.
So I think that this is hopefully a hard lesson to OP. I'm hoping that, when they read the comments, people will be able to provide them with some kind of like insight as to their behavior and why it's not socially acceptable.
Yeah, although if they've gotten this far in their life and been this obtuse, I don't know how much they're gonna take the commenters on Reddit seriously.
Well, they might not.
I
And
hope they do. Like, I really
yeah,
hope this is the wake up call they need. But
sure. And I do hope it's a wake up call. And I think that they are being obtuse. And I think that they, if we give them the benefit of the doubt, hopefully this isn't just, oh, hormones, for instance. I don't think that's an excuse,
well,
mind
I don't
you.
think that's even the case here. Because if she
Yeah.
can just throw away a kid,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
like,
she threw away a kid before, and now she's trying to claim that it's like, oh, hormones.
I think she's just a garbage person who's trying to use her hormones as an excuse.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I'm trying to be charitable here, Amber. I'm
I don't
trying
think
to be
there's any room for
charitable.
being charitable to someone who's like, well, this kid just kind of, I didn't really want her, so, like, I mean, not that there's any, like, if you don't want to be a parent, you shouldn't have to be a parent, but it just seems like she has so little regard for people in general.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, if she has that much more money, she would probably be mandated by a court to pay child support
Yeah.
if they took her to court. So like, it's not like it's even really her choice to pay or
Well,
not.
also, I guess actually it depends. If she gave up all parental rights,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
if she gave up all parental rights and the father took her up on that, if she's just been paying them this money kind of out of the generosity of her heart, then I think that's a little bit of a different situation.
Potentially. I mean, but I've heard of cases of courts like uh suing for child support for people who have no parental, like sperm donors and stuff like that.
That's fair.
Um
That's fair. Which
so
I don't. I think that's unethical, actually. So
yeah. But anyway, aside of whether she's like legally mandated or not, I think it's if you can afford to pay for your kid, that's a moral obligation.
yeah,
And so
I think that there's nothing hurting her here.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, she has more money than she knows what to do with. It sounds
Yeah.
like
Like
so.
it's fine if she doesn't want to be a parent, but uh that shouldn't necessarily get her off the hook of providing financial support if it's needed.
Exactly. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for asking my wife to wear contact lenses to an event?" This happened a few weeks ago, but my wife, I'm a 30-year-old male and she's a 30-year-old female, is still upset about it. So I'm bringing this to Reddit. To judge Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
My company had a Christmas party a few weeks ago, and employees were allowed to bring their significant others. It was a fairly fancy event, and everyone was expected to dress up. When my wife came downstairs to and was ready to get into the car to go to the restaurant where the event was being held, she was wearing appropriate clothing for a fancier dinner, but she was wearing her glasses. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Oh no, the world, the universe is falling apart. I gently asked if she would mind putting on contact lenses just for the night, since this was a fancy event. She looked shocked and said she didn't understand why she would need to put on contacts. My wife has terrible eyesight and wears glasses every day, but will put on contacts if she's doing something like skiing or surfing or playing sports. But she usually puts on contacts for special occasions like the one we're about to go on. I reminded her of this and she said she didn't want to put contacts in and asked continuously if I'm unattracted to her when she wears glasses. But after some back and forth, she begrudgingly agreed to put on contacts. Well, when we got to the restaurant, coworkers and their significant others were already walking around the room mingling, and my wife turned to me fuming. She immediately noticed that several women were wearing glasses, and she went off about how I couldn't believe that I had the audacity to force her to put on contacts when clearly no one even cared. I guess me asking her to wear contacts led her to believe that no one else in the room would be wearing glasses, even though I never said that. I just wanted her to look her best at this important work event.
That's an important sentence right there.
Yeah, I just wanted her to look her best at this important work event. I really don't get why this has blown up the way it has. This happened over 2 weeks ago, and my wife still is acting cold towards me and makes remarks under her breath that I'm a jerk and that I don't find her attractive. I don't think I'm a jerk here, and I think she's being ridiculous and insecure, but she will not let go of this. Am I the jerk?
Yes.
Any more? Anything to expand on there?
Certainly. Well, I think the line "I just want her to look her best" tells it all. Like what he's saying here is she does not look her best when she's in glasses.
Yeah, and I think that that's a personal opinion, and I think that she might like how she looks with glasses on.
Right, he's making a judgment here. The glasses are unprofessional on her and not her best looking. Like, oh, Brian, I need you to take your glasses off. They're not professional.
Well, I mean, this is what I look like with my glasses off, ears included, and on a general day. I mean, as you can see, this is actually how I go around every day. Um, no, no, no. I actually used to wear contacts a long time ago, and I don't mind wearing contacts, and I wore them every day, and it was just kind of a choice that I thought I liked them. But after a while, I decided that I wanted to wear glasses, and I find the glasses in some ways nicer. I like how they look on me, for instance, right? And I think that it's really a matter of personal preference. And I think, glasses have come a long ways. The glasses of like my childhood, for instance, certainly weren't the most flattering. Let's put it that way. But I also had very poor taste as a child. I might have poor taste now. I did. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had dumb tastes as a child.
Didn't we all though?
Especially in glasses. Um, and so I think I should post a picture of. They took this horrible picture of me when I was in track, and maybe I should dig that out of a yearbook and show you people. I'll show you. I'll see if I can post that in post editing and show you folks how horrible of taste I had in glasses. They took this picture of me running in track, and it's just me like running. It's the worst photo. I don't look good in it at all. But they took that picture of all pictures to put of me in the yearbook. So yeah, exactly. I think that this is I'll try to remember to post that. I'm bad at remembering things. I'm sorry, folks. I really am.
Yeah, well, and I think the key thing here is that, like you were saying, it's OP's. There's nothing unprofessional or unfancy about wearing glasses. Like, as long as you're not wearing, like, I mean, there may be some pairs of glasses. Like, I can think of sunglasses I've seen that, like, are just so, like,
Yeah, I mean,
we were having this conversation beforehand, like, about, like, these really gaudy, outrageous
yeah,
ones.
maybe
Like,
she has like gigantic, gaudy, outrageous
like
glasses,
you,
and
you
he's
know, like
like,
the prop ones they have, they're like the size of like your head and then some.
yeah,
They go like this. Like those I can see not being very professional, but like your standard glasses, like what Brian here is wearing, like there's nothing wrong with those. And if she wants to wear them,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. And for him to insist that one, she doesn't look her best, and or in that with them, and that they're unprofessional, like I think that says a lot about him.
yeah.
He doesn't want her to embarrass him at this work event with her glasses,
Yeah,
like.
exactly. And I think like again, there might be some context missing here. Maybe we can give OP's husband the benefit of the doubt,
No, I'm
and
pretty
that
sure if
and
she
that
had like giant weird glasses that would be mentioned in the post.
yeah, and that OP here is like, I just was trying to save her from herself. She wears these gigantic glasses that she can't even fit through the door with. They're like those giant prop glasses. Like literally, they're bigger than she is, and I don't think she looks good in them. But she refuses to wear anything other than these gigantic glasses. Then maybe he would have a point. Maybe he just wants her to look her best. I can just imagine that now. He's like, hun, can you please wear normal glasses or contacts? No, I want my magic glasses.
Oh my goodness. That reminds me vaguely of someone. We're not going into that on this episode.
It's like the worst, most awful, glasses. And I mean, again, like she can do maybe you do you if that's what you find cool and interesting and stuff like that. Then people are shallow and judgmental, right?
Right, and dress code etiquette is
Yeah,
always a little iffy to
yeah,
begin with,
yeah.
but I mean, I can't imagine that she probably wears everyday glasses that are anything but everyday glasses.
Yeah, I'm sure these aren't like something that is like overtly potentially like makes him feel uncomfortable, right? And it's not just, oh, can you switch over to a different pair of glasses that, you know, are make it so that you can fit into the door. Last time you were at this event, you knocked the host unconscious with your glasses because of how big they are, type of situation. Then he might have like a valid argument. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving us a like. And if you didn't, consider giving us a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Hopefully you enjoyed the basically double feature length film. I know it's a little bit long, but we'll hopefully you enjoyed it nonetheless. So yeah. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.